What's up, family? Welcome back to another episode of Patient X Holistic Healing, where we discuss the mental, physical, and spiritual sides of healing. Today's video, we're going to talk about future sight, right? What else do they call it? I forgot the other word for it, but basically seeing the future, right? I have two experiences that I'm going to share. One of them I've already shared on this channel. I did a whole video for it, so I'll link it right here. But other than that, if you've never seen me before, my name is Professor X. I'll be your healing coach and spiritual teacher today. Make sure y'all like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and leave a comment down below if you have anything to add to the conversation. Maybe you're reawakening your spiritual gifts and you need help. Ask for help in the comments. That's how we build the community and grow each other, right? Without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, this first experience I'm going to talk about, it's less severe than the second experience, but still kind of fucked up. So last year, right, I was reawakening to my spiritual gifts. I've been awakening since like 2022 for real, just more and more and more stuff coming, getting deeper in my bag, right? And a few things have come out of it. I become super clairaudient. Like, I didn't think I would get this far. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. I didn't think I would get this far, primarily because I didn't really want clairaudience. Like, when you wake up spiritually and you look at all the spiritual gifts, it's certain shit that you want. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants something, but usually we get what we require for our mission and for our duties, right? So me personally, I got clairaudience because my thing is listening. I'm a speaker, right? My throat chakra is very active, but the throat chakra also deals with receiving and also, the higher senses, seeing, hearing, smelling, all of those things. That being said, I mostly get spiritual gifts that revolve around my throat chakra. So me hearing and shit, I'm clairaudient. I also have a lot of mediumship abilities that I've reawakened to. And one that is kind of underrated is precognition. That's what they call it. Yeah, I'm precognitive as hell. And it's not on purpose. It's more like sometimes it could be intuition and I just know something's going to happen. That's pretty common. You should always feel that way. Like you know what's going to happen next. If you feel that way, that's how you know you're tapped in. But another way, which is more, upfront, more obvious, is I'll receive visions and dreams, and then shit literally happens the next day. Matter of fact, I just received a vision last night, and I'm not gonna share it because it's a crazy one, to be honest. Like, usually I don't get visions that revolve around or have anything to do with reality as a whole or like the world as a whole, but I did receive one last night. Maybe I'll share it with the homies or whatever and make sense of it. But, this specific one that I'm going to talk about in this video, it had everything to do with like me and my personal life, right? So what happened was I was dreaming, right? And when you're dreaming, you're in the astral plane. Sometimes you're conscious of it, sometimes you're not, but you are astral traveling. So, at first I was not aware of what was happening. But as the situation progressed, I started to become more aware of what was happening. I became aware that I was in the astral. And at one point, I was in my car, right? Now, some dudes, they approached me and they took my car, basically. Like, they jacked my shit and went on. Now, it's two sides to this because to a degree, it's like I may have manifested what came next. But at the same time, this was me seeing the future. Now, one thing about the astral plane is that it's not very direct. A bunch of things will happen that are kind of loosey-goosey, trying to tell you something through a bunch of different ways. It'll never really come to you directly unless, a certain specific entity is trying to communicate with you. But usually when it's your subconscious mind, it's very, what's the word for it? I guess symbolic. Symbolic is the word for it. At least in my experience. It might be different for you. But when it comes to how this manifested in my reality, literally that happened to me and then I woke up. Right? Mind you, I was feeling negative emotions because I got robbed. You feel me? I was like, man, this is some bullshit. And I wanted to retaliate, but I'm like, I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to, get over it, basically. So, I woke up, I'm feeling these negative emotions, right? I go to my car because I got to go to work, 5 a.m. in the morning. I try and turn on my car. Boom, car don't work. My car would not start, y'all. And this was, a bigger message in my life as well. Like, I was kind of being prohibited from, I guess, moving forward in a sense, but it literally manifested specifically into my life. And that happens to me a lot. I had to call AAA and get my car ready. And it took a minute. I was late to work that day, right? Now, just so y'all know, stuff like that is pretty common for me. I get maybe like one of those every few weeks where I'll see something in the astral plane and then it happens in my real life. Usually it's pretty minor. That time it was a big thing, but it definitely wasn't as big as this next one that I'm gonna get into. But before I get into that, I do want to also leave the side note. When you're dealing with the astral plane, that is a higher realm than the physical plane. So anything that happens there can and will manifest onto lower planes. It all depends on the amplitude of the energies that you were experiencing or projecting in the astral plane. If you're putting a lot of energy in astral plane towards this specific thing, or you're receiving a bunch of energy in astral plane towards a specific event, that will definitely manifest into the physical world. So not only did I see the future, in a sense, I kind of manifested that, because like I told you, I was feeling negatively in the astral plane, like strongly. I wanted to retaliate because, I got robbed. But me feeling negative emotions towards my vehicle not being available literally manifested into my reality, and I could not start my car in the morning. That's what taught me to really control my emotions in the astral plane. Never should you really be losing your shit in the astral plane. That's a bad sign. Something will definitely happen in your life after that. Even in my more wilder astral travels, crazy shit is happening, and I'm more like, shit, this shit crazy. But I'm just cooling, Sometimes the one that I've struggled with historically has been fear. Sometimes something will happen and I'll get scared, and then I'll wake up and then something will manifest into my life based on a fear that I felt. But usually the fear doesn't go too crazy because certain beings will drain the fear. They'll eat off of your fear. So then it's like the energy kind of gets redirected towards them and it won't manifest in the physical world. But, it can still manifest in the physical world at that. Now, this other experience that I experienced, it's a common story. I tell this story on the channel a few times. Like I told you, I had that video about it. But I'm going to just give the abridged version right now, right? So I was out and about in the astral plane with one of the homies from middle school. You feel me? He's not really the homie for real. I actually got a new story about him that's coming out. Maybe it's out already. I'm not sure, but I'll link it right here. But the dude who I was beefing with in that video, he was the one from the astral plane in this experience, right? Now, I didn't really like bro, but we were kicking it and we were having a ball, to be honest. I was like, shit, this nigga ain't that bad. But it wasn't. That's the thing. My astral awareness was low back then. This happened like 2 years ago. This was my awakening to spiritual warfare, to be honest. This is when I realized this shit gets real. Essentially, bro backdoored me. Like, that wasn't actually the kid. I thought I was astral traveling with that kid, but in real life, that was an entity in disguise. Now, what happened was, and this is a big thing, bro. This is a very big thing in the astral plane. I let him into my house. Do not let anybody into your house in the astral plane. Never do that, because it's like a very symbolic thing, but it's also direct as well. You're like opening up your spirit to somebody else. You feel me? The house is a very symbolic thing. That's like your internal world. That's your moon energy. So they can tear you up if they so decide. And that's what happened in that situation. I kind of got tore up, but it was bigger than me, and we'll get to that. Right? So I let him into my crib, and as soon as I let him into my crib, it was like that. He was waiting for me to let him in. As soon as I let him in, boom, a bunch of SWAT niggas stormed in my crib. The agents. I'll put some pictures right here so you can see the different astral entities that stormed my crib. But they came in with guns blazing, shooting, and at this point, I was still highly astral, so the bullets could not touch me. I was on a higher vibration. When you're on a higher vibration and you're not in fear or experiencing lower vibrational emotions, things can't really hurt you in the astral plane. But the more I started to try and warn my family, like I ran to my family, I'm like, hey, they're here and blah, blah, blah. We gotta go. The more I started to do that, the more fear I started to feel. You feel me? And it was pissing me off because my family was just chilling. They were looking at me like, and they were just chilling. Mind y'all, those dudes were actively storming my crib. So they went to everybody's room and shot everybody's room up. And I was like the only survivor. I literally jumped out the window, and that's when the experience ended. I took myself out of that shit, because it was like getting traumatic at that point. And I'll reiterate myself. This whole experience happened, let's say 50-50. It happened half because I let a being into my house, and half because there was some extreme magic going on my neighborhood. And I'll get to that in a second. Like I told y'all, it was bigger than me. There was actually some sort of warlock that was targeting my neighborhood at that time and really looking for high vibe individuals to kind of suppress them. You see what I'm saying? This is the type of shit you got to deal with when you raise your frequency to higher heights. You feel me? Niggas will literally start to target you, but that's a whole other video. After that happened, a week passed and the pipes in my house busted. You feel me? Everything in my house busted. Like, I'm talking the floorboards were like coming up like this, and they were very hot. You could feel it was a lot of moisture and water just leaking under the ground. That's a super major plumbing problem, and it took 6 months to fix that shit. Now, in the midst of it, when it was still like happening and we're still trying to figure out what's going on, we were talking to our neighbors. And my neighbors have revealed that not only did it happen to them as well, it happened to 5 of my other neighbors. Now, that is a serious plumbing problem. Like, that's like they had to come to the whole block and fix the block. Now, that is an extreme attack. Like, I had never experienced an attack like that at that point in my life. I don't even think I've experienced an attack like that since then. That was a crazy attack. And the reason why I haven't had experiences that crazy is because I got on my spiritual warfare at that point. Like, I started getting on my shit and, protecting myself. I went and got different crystals. I went and built certain, ritual practices that will protect my block. Like right now, one of my favorite rituals to do is I run around my block, like the whole block, with my dog. Right now, you gotta understand about animals. Some of your animals, if you have pets, they can be your spirit guide. I know my dog, he's one of my spirit guides. I have 3 dogs. Right now, dogs are naturally territorial. Right. The dog, mind you, the dog is mindless. He's just living a dog life. But my spirit guides that are acting through him, they kind of impulse him to do shit. And to a human, it looks like, oh, why is he doing that? But on the spirit guide side, it's like they impulse the dog to do certain shit that will benefit me and protect me, right? So one of the things that my dog likes to do is pee on every damn thing. You feel me? He pees on everything. But dogs do that because they're territorial. You feel me? So I'll go around my whole block and my dog pees at every corner, literally. I had to peep game on him. I'm like, why does he do this? Then it started to make sense to me when I started to tap in with my spirit guides. He pees at every corner of the block. Once we go in a complete circle around the block, it's like the whole block is protected, basically. Ever since I started doing that, nothing happens. I haven't experienced any demonic beings enter my neighborhood, period. I'm clean. And that's just one of them ones, like, I know it probably sounds kind of funny, but that's a really good ritual. But you can also do other things. I like to make my own rituals. I don't like to look up other people's rituals because it's like, it's better when you make that shit yourself or, put the intentions in it yourself. But that's a whole other video. I'll talk about ways to defend against spiritual warfare, but that's just one of mine. That being said, hopefully you could see the correlation between me seeing the shit in the astral plane and then it happening in real life. That's a real thing. I'm precognitive as hell. And like I told you, it happens pretty frequently, but, it doesn't always manifest right away. Sometimes it takes time. The more energy that was involved, the faster it'll manifest. Like I told you, that first initial experience, it took 1 day to manifest. With the event, with my plumbing and all of that shit, that took a week to manifest. Now, that was a lot of energy that they put into that initial event. A lot. It was like people down my whole block ready to storm my house. And to be honest, for the majority of it, I was inside my house. So they probably stormed other people's houses too. I don't know. I didn't see that. But likely they did because the whole block got messed up. Now, if you want to develop, future sight, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know why. Like, it's all of these things can be blessings and curses at the same time. Notice how I'm doing this shit, because it's like, it's however you perceive it. It's only been a blessing to me, but like, if you're not ready to handle seeing traumatic shit and then watching it manifest and play out right in front of you, you don't want that. You know what I'm saying? If you're very emotional, you don't want that. I see it very matter of fact, and I'm pragmatic about these things, so it's like, it is what it is, but it can be very challenging. But if you want to develop future sight, just meditate. I'm not gonna lie. Meditate and trust your intuition more, and these experiences will naturally start to happen to you. And that goes for really all clear senses and spiritual abilities. But that being said, I'm gonna do another video talking about different spiritual abilities that I've developed. Like I told you, I'm like a medium. I am a medium. That's like my strongest ability, to be honest. And I'm also clairaudient. I communicate with my spirit guides very frequently. So if you want videos on those, leave it down below. Leave your recommendations. And if you want to develop a certain, spiritual ability or clair ability, leave it down below. I'll teach you how to get there. And without further ado, we can end it right there. Thank y'all for making it this far in the video. I'm talking fast as shit. I'm not gonna lie, I'm thirsty, bro. Hold on. Like I was saying, thank y'all for watching this video. Thank you for making it this far. If you have anything to add to the comments, please leave it down below. Yeah, thank you for watching Patient X Holistic Healing. My name is Professor X, and I'm gonna catch y'all later. Peace.